So let's try to understand the structure of 8051 memory. So there are two types of memory in 8051 that we need to look into. That is program memory and a data memory. As you can see here, the program memory is 64 kilobyte, the total size of the program memory. This can be an internal or it can be even external. So an internal memory, this is the internal memory which is actually depends on which type of 8051 chipset that we use, as 8051 core is available in different version and vendors, so this size can vary. However, the external memory can be supported up to 64 kilobytes. So 64 kilobyte is the memory that is supported externally, whereas internally it depends on the number, the processor that we use. For a classic 8051, it is 4 kilobyte memory. So that is internal memory. And as you can see here, EA and EA0, EA equal to 1 and EA equal to 0. As you see in 8051 chip, there is a pin called EA pin, external enable pin. So if external enable addressing, if it is 1, okay, if it is made 1, then it will select the internal program memory. If EA bar, which is made 0, that is external enable is made 0, means it will select the external program memory. So whatever program execution happens will be taken, the data or the instruction is taken from the external memory. If you go for EA equal to 1 selection in the hardware, then it will be internal program memory. Now this internal memory 4 kilobyte. Now if I am going for external memory, I can support up to 64 kilobyte of memory. So it depends on which status of the pin I am going to choose. So that is actually about the program memory. So there is another memory which is a data memory here. The data memory again can be 64 kilobyte. This is external memory. Internal, there are limited numbers. 128 byte are the locations available for internal RAM, and another location which is SFR is a special function register. This is a special function register. So 128 locations are for the registers, different set of registers, and SFR contains again some general purpose registers under SFR. So that is the structure. So these are the two different structure. So what compulsorily a processor should contain is an internal memory. It depends if you are using 8051, definitely it has an internal memory, and these are optional. This is something the user will define. And here external is an optional. It need not be there. I can manage everything just by having only internal RAM. So this internal data memory is also called as internal RAM. So 128 byte is the internal RAM, then separate SFR, that is special function register. So just to summarize here, in the memory, just remember 8051 has a program memory which generally of 4 kilobyte, and it supports up to 64 kilobyte of program memory. And coming to the RAM location, 8051 has 128 byte of RAM or a data memory, and separate SFR, special function register space, another probably some 100 bytes. It depends again. So but that is internal. This is actually internal to the chip, and it also supports a 64 kilobyte of external data memory interface. So that is a summary of this diagrams and the memory altogether. Getting into details, so we will not cover much about the program memory, because program memory there is nothing we need to worry, because generally whatever the firmware, the program that we write, it will be flashed into this memory, internal RAM. What we need to worry is about the 128 byte and SFR. This is something very important to understand how the registers are arranged and how the general purpose memory is accessed. So that we need to see. So the internal RAM structure is important for us. So internal RAM, the 128 byte that I'm talking, can be addressed, can be divided into two different sets. That is, one is addressed direct as well as indirect addressing mode. Another will be addressed only using direct addressing mode. So 128 byte of the internal RAM, it can be addressed directly or indirectly. Another 128 byte roughly, the size depends, but generally it is more almost less, not exactly 128 but even less than that. Few locations are reserved actually, so that this is something special function register. As the name indicate, it is a special function register set where the different sets of registers are kept for different operations. So that depends on the features of the 8051 microcontroller that we use. So that is SFR, special function register, that can be addressed using direct address only. So I hope you know the difference between a direct and an indirect addressing mode. So direct addressing mode is something where you need to specify the location to access the content of the register. That is direct addressing. Indirect addressing means need not specify the address, it can be indirectly pointed using another registers. That is indirect. So details will be given to you in the next slide. Before that, let's go through the special function registers. What are those special function registers? So in 8051, these special function registers, there are many special function register. For few of them, we need to know the one which frequently used is accumulator. So as you can see here, this is the accumulator that we use, ACC, that is an accumulator. And what you can see here is the address. See, the special function register address will start from 80H onwards. 80H onwards, special function register starts. 80, 81, 82, so on till F0. And a B register address is F0. So what are these special function registers? They are nothing but the internal registers of 8051, which is related to timers, counters, serial communications, IO ports, interrupts, all that. They are the registers. And I see port 0, port 1, port 2, port 3. These are all registers related to the ports, IO ports. So they are all special function registers. So these special function registers are already predefined. You cannot change the address of these registers that is defined for the processor 8051. Let's move on to further because the 80H it has started. Now the previous structure is not yet known. Let's explore it. And there is something called a program status word. See here, the one thing that you need to see, program status word is a register, PSW, because you can see here, PSW register is somewhere here, D0. So it is similar to the flag registers of your 8086.